Okay, looks like we're up and going. We're ready to go. We're moving ahead. We're into lesson 8, about halfway through. So we've looked at mastermind, a definite chief aim, self-confidence. We didn't look at habit of saving for the reasons I mentioned previously. Initiative and leadership, imagination, enthusiasm, self-control. All right. And I can tell you from personal experience, from working to achieve whatever it is that I've worked to achieve over the years in 4 or 5 different fields, right? Um, Almost all of these lessons or elements of these lessons are very significant and not only meeting minimum performance standards or outcomes, but also going beyond that and ensuring yourself, especially in unstable times, uh, a better opportunity or chance to solidify steady, consistent, regular work. Right. That's the key. And that's what you want to do. You want to make sure that you're working. You've got a job, but not just a job, but a career. You're building a career. You're sustaining yourself. You're building. You're layering. Right. You're developing skills, knowledge, and attitudes. Right. And that's where these principles or concepts or lessons come into play. And there's a lot here. You'll see that I'm just kind of skipping over a good portion of what's there. These chapters go 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 pages or more, right? So there's a lot here. You're not going to learn them all at once. I would suggest, if you want to learn them or learn more about these principles, essential principles to achievement, right? Not necessarily success or achievement itself, but principles that are utilized by the majority of those who do achieve. But then you've got to use them. You got to understand them first and then apply them. And that's a different beast, applying them, right? You can do the cerebral stuff. You can do the textbook stuff. You can do it in the abstract, but then you have to do it in the concrete, the real world, right? And I can tell you, man, specific goal, critical. Self-confidence, critical. Investments, critical. I wouldn't say savings, but investments. Understanding money, and I think I'll go over that someday. Understand money, what money is, what the money system is, what banking, trade, taxation is. Where does money derive from? What do we owe as a nation, as individuals? How's my chances for moving forward from here on to retirement and through retirement? What are my chances for having enough money to pay for the minimum standards of stuff, food and shelter and whatnot in the temporary, maybe a little bit money left over for good times and times off, but also into the retirement years, when you're 50, 60 above, whatever, whenever you retire, right? So that's critical. That stuff is critical. And again, I wish I had older Spock, right? 2009 Star Trek, where younger Spock meets older Spock, very older Spock. Right? I wish I met me when I was younger, me at this age now, right? Not too old. So stuff you need to know, right? Initiative and leadership, critical. Essential. Imagination, critical. Enthusiasm, self-control, habit of doing more than you're paid for. Huge. Bigly. Pleasing personality, and that's a little deceiving. You're not supposed to always run around going, hey, hi, how's it going? I'm happy all the time. Nothing ever bothers me. No. Pleasing personality means that you're real, you're grounded in reality, you're fact-based. You're not living any fanciful notions. You're not living unicorn years or your unicorn life. No unicorn life. You want to be grounded in fact, and you want to be substantial. That's what employers want, right? Solutions come through fact and the science. Follow the science, follow the facts, follow the research, not in fantasy, make believe, imaginings. A bunch of garbage, a bunch of crap. Crap reminds me of who was it? The Spider-Man's in the early Spider-Man movies when Jameson, right? Jameson, remember? Spider-Man comes in for a job. Speaking of looking for a job, and Spider-Man goes, "Hey, I got pictures of Spider-Man. Gee, how'd you get those?" Right? And Jameson's looking at the picture. He's going, crap, 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 mega crap. What is this? I'll give you $300 for all of them. And Spider-Man thought, yeah, probably $1,000 more, 2,000 for this. And of course, Spider-Man, Peter Parker goes, what? He goes, and he says, you want a job? No job for you. Don't need a job. Do this on a freelance opportunity. It's good for you. Young boy like you, young guy like you. You don't want to be held down by a job. You got some pictures, come in. I'll throw you some scraps. Right. That's kind of how we start off in anything. Throw you some scraps. That's the beginning of it all, right? Accurate thought. That's critical thinking. That's logical thinking. That's rigorous, hard work thinking, right? I'm helping my son. He's taking some summer classes, biology and history. It's hard, and he's junior in high school, right? Wait till you get to college. Wait till you get out of college. It's hard. It's not easy. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of effort. It's boring. I had one chair or dean of one of the departments that I work for, community college. And she said, yeah, some of your students are complaining that it's boring. I don't give a shit. I don't care about boring. Too bad. College is boring. Why? Because you have to sit down and read again and again and work and reread and relearn and redo. And it's boring. It's tiresome. It's tedious. You think I'm having fun grading papers of students? You think I'm having fun helping my son? Kind of, because he's learning stuff. And I do enjoy learning new stuff myself. So I'm a bit of a freak, a little weird. Why aren't you just playing Xbox, bro? Watching some basketball and playing some Xbox and simping over some social media chicks or whatever it is that people do these days. I don't know, right? Yeah, bro. Anyways, accurate thought, concentration. How do you get all this stuff? Well, the way you get all this stuff, cooperation, failure. Failure is great. Failure is going to teach you a lot. And if you want to achieve, you're going to fail. So suck it up, buttercup, right? You will fail. Failure is not an option. I've seen that before. They're basically saying, I'm not going to fail. Well, you are. And the higher you reach. Look at the people who succeeded, right? Michael Jordan, he said the reason why I've succeeded is because I've failed more than most, right? Meaning he's been out there risking it more. He's been trying more. He's been practicing more. So therefore, he's failing more, right? Brushing off or working out the kinks and the missed shots and the poor dribbling and the poor thinking and key moments on the court, right? Getting to win championship. Why was he so good at it? A lot of practice, a lot of work, a lot of effort. Sure, it was a certain level of physical talent, without a doubt, right? But to win at that level, it's not easy to win at that level. And I see fans oftentimes, time and again, getting upset at the players. I saw Michael Jordan struggle tremendously for years before he finally won his first championship, right? I think Larry Bird was 6-0 against him in playoffs and like 22-11 or something like that. And then he learned, right? I saw LeBron James struggle at the beginning. Then he got his 4 rings. Same thing with Shaq. Kobe may be a little bit of an exception. He was still 17, but it took him a while to play well and amazingly. It didn't just happen, right? Nothing just happens. And I see these players progress. I mean, I play basketball, football, baseball, mostly at the high school, a little bit of post-high school play, But it's not easy. Tolerance, golden rule. So this is all critical stuff. Right. So let's move forward. That was my little bit of backpedaling, right? You often have to backpedaling. I'm also putting together a Prezi presentation, that online presentation where you can put what you're covering, the various elements of what you're covering in different categories. I put them into like circles, and you can zoom in and zoom out so that you can see the overall connections. And then there's lines going back and forth between the individual elements that I'm presenting. And I've got, Law of Success, 16 Lessons. I've got Thick Face Blockhart that I'm putting in there. Who is it? Maslow. Okay. Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? James Allen, Principles of Success. And I think there's another one or two that I want to put in there. But at least 5, maybe 6 of these sets of success principles, right? That you need, especially nowadays. It's critical, it's essential. It's tougher to get a job now. It was a little easier during COVID, post-COVID, a little harder now, right? Things have changed in the job market. And the stuff that I'm going to be bringing you after I give you I'm trying to give you a cursory background, catch up to speed kind of stuff. And then I'm going to give you kind of day by day stuff, what's going on out there as we move forward. This is great. I am freaking awesome. If you don't watch these videos, get out of here. Go lose. Go lose. Enjoy your loser life. That's real coaching right there. Huh? Enjoy your loser life, loser. The only way to success is through my teaching. Anywho, no man achieves great success who is unwilling to make personal sacrifice. Thank you very much. It's not so much about doing what you need to achieve, but the sacrifices you're willing to make. It's about the sacrifices you're willing to make to achieve. Sure, there's certain stuff you have to do. A la 16 lessons. Viva la 16 lessons, right? But at the same time, as you're learning that stuff, there's a lot of sacrifice, a lot of things you have to give up as you're learning, as you're overcoming shortcomings, deficiencies, weaknesses, ignorance, laziness, inertia. We are inert by nature. Nobody wants to get out of bed. Nobody wants to do those sit-ups. Nobody wants to do that reading, that homework. I have that problem for forever in my classes. Sometimes students don't buy the book. I sat down, I did a lesson one time, a couple months into a class, and I go, okay, everybody break up into groups, 5 or 6 groups, grab the book, and I'm going to ask you some questions. And then I go over to one group. We don't have the book. What, you forgot it? Left it at home? No, none of us bought it yet. 2 months into the semester. Losers, idiots. Idiots supreme, idiots extraordinaire. Come on. I just want to go, get out of my class. In my head, I'm going, get out. What do you think employers are doing if you bring that into a place of employment? Gee, I can't find a job. Yeah, no kidding. Santa Maria. It was sorry. I was drawing on my deceased Portuguese grandmother, Santa Maria. In the preceding lesson, you learned the value of enthusiasm. You've also learned how to generate enthusiasm and how to transmit its influence to others through the principle of suggestion. Again, I'm not too much into that suggestion stuff, right? But again, he's making a connection to previous concepts. This is how you learn. Learning is a continuous upgrading and interweaving connection of ideas and concepts and principles that support, fill in the gaps, and build and create some type of foundational structure of great significance, depth, and breadth. You see what I'm saying? You're with me? Bros and broettes? Is that such a thing? Broettes? I probably offended half the people anyways. Let's all be politically easy for you. Let's all be politically correct. Sorry. My mouth wasn't working for a second there. Let's all be politically correct, right? I'm not into that stuff. But anyways, I'm surprised I survived this long. You also learn how to do, okay. You come now to the study of self-control through which you may direct your enthusiasm to constructive ends. But the reason why you have enthusiasm for any of this stuff is because you're really tapping into the strengths that you have in you, right? I really want to do this. My innate talents, tendencies, gifts, abilities, inclinations, and leanings, dreams, desires, it's in there. I don't know what I'm about. Yeah, well, I was going to say something about, I'll be nice, right? It's in there, but for some reason, parents, teachers, professionals, all whoever's out there, I don't know what they're doing, but they're not helping you, okay? I am only here to help. And I have to knock you down a bit with a little bit of reality in order to build you up, then fine. You ever go into the military? Guess what they do? You want to make a universal soldier. You want to make a top gun, top soldier. You want to make I don't know, a Green Beret, a Navy SEAL. Those guys are badass. They get it done, right? But they're the top of the top, tippity top of the top, tippity top of the top. Why? This stuff and more, what I'm going to give you, right? Guess what? I've had military students come up to me and go, Professor Brown, this is so much like what I learned in the military, principles and concepts and things, right? What? You want to be the best, you got to think the best, you got to operate the best, you got to function the best, you got to have certain skills, knowledge, attitudes, right? It's not just about the physical, and it's not just about the mental. It's about the emotional, it's about the mental, it's about the spiritual, it's about the intellectual. You got to get it all work, right? Do more than you're asked. 100%, that's all right. 500, 1,000, go ballistic, go nuts, go nuclear. Better. That's, I think, where you want to be. Enthusiasm is the vital quality that arouses you to action. You ever feel like putting stuff off, right? You're always putting things off, procrastinating. It's not that you're lazy or dumb. You're just not doing what you're supposed to be doing because you don't want to do it. You don't want to do it. Why are you doing it? Yeah. Do you live in a communist country? Is some dictator telling do it or die? No, it's a free country. Why are you doing what you don't want to do? If you're free to do what you want to do, what you doing? You into self-torture, self-mutilation, intellectual mutilation, emotional mutilation, career mutilation? I don't know. What are you doing? What are you doing? I know I was doing that, to be honest, when I was younger, but I didn't have older me back then. You know? Again, I mean, you're at a real advantage getting this stuff now. At any age, most people don't get this at all. So at any age, hell. Enthusiasm is the vital quality that arouses you to action, while self-control is the balance wheel that directs your action so that it will build up and not tear down, right? That's true. You know what? When I was younger, I had no self-control, no confidence, no self-confidence. Most of these principles, nothing, almost nothing. Yeah, I was a blank slate. I was a diagram that needed to be filled in with everything. I was an empty diagram, blank slate, right? So I really had to work at building myself up. And it was a long, continuous, difficult, arduous trail to walk. Not easy. And now I'm at the other end. And I'll tell you, from personal experience, it is about what you do. It's not so much about, it is about what you do, but in the sense that, you know, when you die, it's not so much that, oh, I should have spent more time having fun, making money, traveling. You know, no. What you'll find out is that if you didn't build yourself up and help to build others, that's the essential. It's about you. It's about connections. It's about giving to family, friends, for sure. That's pretty commonly known. But also giving to society at large. And that's what you do with your position, your job, right? Think of it from that perspective, right? Not just making money. Some positions, some jobs or careers, you can make a lot of money. Sure, you know, you can be very happy and become a millionaire doing it, right? But it's not bottom line. And anybody who's worth their salt or weight in gold, you can look those both up. Right? Sometimes I get those sayings wrong. Like I say, etched in stone. It's actually chiseled in stone. I figure out what is etched. Etched in metal. But anyways, I'm off on the tangent. So yeah, you know, it's really about making sacrifices, doing what you need to do when you need to do it for you. And that's self-interest. That's not selfishness. You don't want to be selfish. You want to be self-interested, self-focused, self-improving. And what did Einstein say? Always improve yourself. Become not a person of success, money, fame, fortune, but a person of value. And as you're enhancing your own value, guess what you're going to get? More money. To be a person who is well balanced, you must be a person in whom enthusiasm and self-control are equalized. You could probably throw in a lot of those other elements in the lessons dispersed throughout, right? Let me finish this. A survey which I have just completed of the 160,000 adult inmates of the penitentiaries of the United States discloses the startling fact that 92% of these unfortunate men and women are in prison because they lack the necessary self-control to direct their energies constructively. Read the foregoing paragraph again. It is authentic. It is startling. And there's so many people doing so many things wrong because they don't think. They just act. There's no self-control. There's no depth of thought. There's no discipline of thought. There's no deep thought, good analytical thought, critical thinking, right? It's just kind of just knee-jerk reflex. It's very undisciplined. And you're just feeding into your basic core desires, which if you do, you're going to get fat and broke and then probably in jail, right? I don't care about what I eat. I don't care about working out. I don't care about doing homework. I don't care about being my job on time. I don't care about following through on what I said I would do for my family, for my friends, for my employer. All that stuff, you don't do that. That's going to mess you up, right? Study the records of those whom the world calls great. And I suggest you do that. I said do. That you do that, right? I've read about the highly successful in the military field, in politics, in business, in entertainment. And there are great similarities, right? And here's one. Observe that every one of them possesses this quality of self-control. For example, now I give some examples. Let's see. If you neglect, second paragraph, to exercise self-control, you are not only likely to injure others. This is, think about a child. Child is very compulsive, right? Impulsive. Just do like my grandson daughter came over today, and he hit my grandkids, and they hit my son, the boy who's about, what is he, like 8, 7, smacked my 17-year-old son on the top of the head. Just looked like he was just playing Xbox with him. All of a sudden, he's sort of wham, like really hard. And for a little kid, he's pretty good size, beefy little fella. And my son was like, yeah, it kind of hurt, kind of stung, and my head rung for a while. And that's just, why did he do that? I don't know. They just, right? And some people continue like that throughout teenage years into the 20s and adulthood. Maybe not to that degree, but enough to a degree that it destroys their lives or it injures them emotionally, intellectually, spiritually, and so forth, right? Economically, lack of discipline and control. Just watch the internet all the time, right? You see those people out and about in traffic, at restaurants, in various places, just totally lacking control, destroying themselves and their reputation and the lives of those around them to various degrees, right? Some to the extreme. There's more examples here. I like this one. For the love of the Lord, you don't have to apologize. Nobody heard you except these 4 walls and you and me. I ain't going to tell it. And I know you ain't going to tell it. So just forget it. And that remark hurt more than the first one. For he had not only expressed a willingness to forgive me, but it actually indicated his willingness to help me cover the incident up so it would not become known and do me an injury. That's interesting. Anecdote there. The man who actually knows just what he wants in life has already gone a long way toward attaining it. This is a part of understanding your goals, your chief aim in life, right? And that's because you've researched yourself. And that's what a lot of these lessons do. They help you to learn about yourself, strengths and weaknesses, the stuff that you have to learn and acquire and overcome. That's Thick-Faced Blackheart. Chapter 3, I think, is overcoming preconceived notions or stuff that you've been conditioned to think. You have to overcome that thinking or the conditioning or propaganda, brainwashing in order to achieve. There's a lot of brainwashing going on. Unfortunately, maybe not knowingly or in a malicious way, bad way, right? Malicious. Parents do it, teachers do it, society does it, politicians do it, right? Online, there was some actress, young actress, Bella Thorne, I guess. I don't know who that is really. But I just happened to see this video. And Whoopi Goldberg, of all people, said something really bad about her, right? And she said, there's no reason to say that, you know. And she was crying. Well, don't just say stuff. A lot of people think that people in the public arena are different. And because they're in the public, we own them, right? You know, we consume their products, we consume their lives. This celebrity worship is out of control. I don't understand it in the least. You know, they give a lot of lenience and leeway to celebrities. Or if a celebrity, I see some of the posts online, they look at somebody, some actor, actress, musician, performer, whatever, even politicians sometimes, you know, even business people, you know, that, you know, so-and-so is amazing. I love so-and-so. You don't know that person, right? You see their public persona. And I can tell as someone myself who worked in entertainment and with a public persona, somewhat, but I saw those people on stage and then off stage. And before the camera can be considerably different, quite different. You can see people like, what was it, Will Smith? Something snapped at one point. That was always there, but it wasn't revealed until way later on in a weak moments. Eventually, we all show ourselves, right? It's harder to control that if you're in the public eye, right? Mel Gibson went nuts one time. Bill Cosby, you know, the things he did, and others. You know, it's just like, but I always thought that person was a wonderful person. Be careful. Even if you marry someone, even someone who's you've been going with, this has happened to me for weeks or months. You know, that's why you don't just get married in the first week or month or something. Give it some time, 6 months at least or a year, so that you give them some time, because eventually they're gonna slip up, and eventually the real them, the real him or her, whoever, it's gonna show, right? So be careful. Incident, luckily, oops. Lack of self-control, last paragraph, is the average salesman's most damaging weakness. The perspective, or any profession, right? The prospective buyer says something that the salesman does not wish to hear, and if he has not this quality of self-control, he will strike back with a counter remark that is fatal to his sale. And I saw, yeah, I've seen this. There was a mayor, New York mayor, Chicago, I forget where, but some woman was complaining about what was going on. And, you know, elderly woman, and some of the decisions that were made by the mayor or maybe previous administrations, I don't know. But she was talking to the current one, you know, this is happening, this is happening. She, you know, she was on a cane, and it looks like she didn't have much going for her. And all of a sudden he started attacking her, you know, because she wasn't getting what she needed. So he took it personally, yeah. As a personal assault, you know. And it had nothing, almost nothing to do with that, with him. Then he started manufacturing or making up some reasons as to why. You know, you say this, you hate me because fill in whatever. And she wasn't saying anything from what you could hear from what she was saying that had to do with about him or anything about him or his personality or who he is. But that's the way he took it. Yeah. So be careful. You got to have self-control and discipline. I've had students yell at me and swear at me. And I've had other students say, well, you know, why didn't you do something about that? I said, well, I'm not going to feed the flames, feed the fire. You know, one time is okay. If it happens again, then, you know, I'll sit down with the student, you know, because things happen, life happens. And this person was a little on the edge anyways, you know, a little maybe emotionally unstable, right? So, if it got out of control, I would definitely address the issue. But just one one little going off, I'm not gonna cause any problems. I've never really had any students go beyond that, But you gotta be careful. You gotta have some discipline, Let's see. He's got some more examples. Most of us, last paragraph again, most of us go through life with our weather eye cast skyward in the quest of trouble. We usually find that for which we are looking. Yeah. In my travels, it's kind of like you're always looking over here. You're always looking at troubles. You're always looking at problems. You're always looking at the dark side. Go to the light. Stop looking over there, right? Sometimes you have to address the problem, to address the issue, to figure out what it is you need to do to fix it. But don't stay there. Like I had a friend who got screwed over by his wife. 20 years later, he's still not dating women. He's torturing himself for their problem, right? And maybe some of it was his fault, right? So she's gone. Don't worry about her anymore. If you've got problems, or if you find that she had problems and you don't want those problems again, don't find someone who has those problems. Or if you got problems, fix them, right? I've been married 22 years, and my wife says, I stayed with you because you're an honorable person. I have my head in the game. I'm focused on my wife and my family, and I do for them generally what I need to do. Nobody's perfect, right? Do what you're supposed to do. Fulfill your obligations and responsibilities. Be a good Boy Scout, Girl Scout, right? Anyways, we usually find that for which we're looking at in my travels. I have been a student of men whom I have heard in Pullman car conversation. That's old stuff. You can look up Pullman cars. And I have observed that practically 9 out of 10, I think those were taxis, right, have so little self-control that they will invite themselves into this discussion of almost any subject that may be brought up. But few men are contented to sit in a smoking compartment and listen to a conversation without joining in and airing their views, right? Views like The View, like Whoopi on The Views. She wants to air her views. And it's not just her, it's people in general, people online, everybody online attacking her. Let's cancel so-and-so because of fill in the minor incident, minor misunderstanding, or minor issue, right? You're not going to agree with everything that everybody says, right? People make mistakes. People have different opinions. What are you doing? Why are you spending so much time looking at the negative, going for the negative, living in the negative, right? Go for the positive. Get your head out of there. Go for something more positive. You stay there, that's going to destroy you and all the people you try to take down with you. It's terrible, right? What else we got? Roast turkey is a very, very popular dish. No man can rise to fame and fortune without carrying others along with him or her. It simply cannot be done, right? True. And the more you rise, the more people you're going to be bringing, or the more people you'll attract. Speaking of law of attraction, Napoleon Hill, vibrations, all that stuff, right? Suggestion, autofocus, whatever he calls it. Yeah, that's going to happen. But also when you go down, guess what's going to happen? They're just going to drop you like a ton of bricks. They'll run, right? Things are going bad. You're going down the downside. Where's all those people? Gone, right? It's often said by many, a wise person, or it has been said, that in your lifetime, you're probably going to have 4, 5, 6 people who are really good people, good friends. And they could be family, they could be just friends, right? He's got a lot of examples here. One rainy afternoon, this incident, let's see. Ask the next 10 people. It seems he starts off at the bottom of these pages with his next point. I'm looking for the points he's making, not for the support, right? If I see, the incident had been forgotten, the lady Andrew Carnegie's in the letter, right? I know that those are supporting points, right? But this is a concept or a point that he's making to support the overall point of self-control. See, there's a logic to understanding how to read stuff. Isn't that amazing? Because I've written a lot of stuff. I've written 9 books, probably, hundreds of articles. I teach reading, writing, critical thinking, logic. These are great tools. Stick with me, right? Stick with me. Ask the next 10 people whom, proper English. I would just say who. I don't like whom. For whom are you looking? I always feel like I sound like a snob. For whom are you asking? Who do you want? I might say it like that. Who da? I don't even say do. Who da? Who da? Who da? Who do you want? Ask the next 10 people who you meet, why they have not accomplished more in their respective lines of endeavor, and at least 9 of them. It always seems 90%, right? 95% will never accomplish what they want to accomplish. 90% of businesses will fail in the first 3 to 5 years. 90% of people will not live fulfilling lives. It's a lot. That's why that concept of if you see people doing something, just do something else comes into play, right? A lot of I follow that, not as a law or by the letter, but a lot of times that's a very useful concept, principle. At least 9 of them will tell you that opportunity does not seem to come around their way. Go a step further and analyze each of these 9 accurately by observing their actions for one single day. And the chances are that you will find that every one of them is turning away the finest sort of opportunities every hour of the day, right? One day I went to he's supporting that point, right? He's supporting the point again the following night, 2 days later, right? No opportunities. It's inevitable. It's almost like I should just go to the last paragraph. No opportunities come your way. Perhaps they come, but you don't see them. Perhaps you will see them in the future as you are preparing yourself through the aid of the reading course and the law of success, so that you can recognize an opportunity when you see it. The 6th lesson of this course is the subject of imagination, which was the chief factor that entered into the transaction that I have just related. Imagination plus a definite plan, plus self-confidence, plus action were the main factors that entered into this transaction, right? Now let us examine the scope of meaning of the term self-control. I skipped the next paragraph. As it is used in connection with this course by describing, these are the principles I'm looking for. I don't need all his supporting evidence, right? You can read that supporting evidence, and I suggest that you read through this at least 3 times, 2-3 times. Maybe writing some articles, putting them online. Why? Well, helping other people. Remember, that's a part of what you need to do, need to learn, need to be. Helping other people and also helping yourself to learn stuff better, right? A person with well-developed self-control does not indulge in hatred, envy. This is the dark area I'm talking about, right? Jealousy, fear, revenge, or any similar destructive emotions. A person with well-developed self-control does not go into aesthetics or become ungovernably enthusiastic over anything or anybody, right? Skip down to the second to last paragraph. Self-sacrifice is a commendable quality, but when it is carried out to extremes, it also becomes one of the dangerous forms of lack of self-control, right? Yeah, I had a person that self-sacrificed so much and in the extreme that she never really had time or the capability or capacity to work on herself, right? And that could be destructive. It's balance, it's all about balance. You owe it to yourself not to commit your emotion to replace your happiness in the keeping of another person, right? A person, look at, he's got a lot of person. A person with well-developed self-control will not permit himself to be influenced by the cynic or the pessimist, see? Nor will he permit another person to do his thinking for him. Person with well-developed self-control will stimulate his imagination and his enthusiasm until they have produced action. But he will then control that action, not permit it to control him. A person with well-developed self-control will never, under any circumstances, slander another person or seek revenge. See, talking poorly about people online or to friends or family, that's gossip. You generally don't want to do that. You got enough problems. Don't bring more problems onto yourself. You're not perfect. You're talking bad about or poorly about others. Well, guess what? Look in your own backyard, right? A lot of stuff you're doing, I'm doing, we do, not good, right? Person with self-control will not hate those who do not agree with him. This sounds like theology. If you read some of the greatest religious books out there, the Dhammapada, the Rig Veda, the Analects of Confucius, the Bible has some good stuff in there, right? A lot of theological principles focus on that. Self-control, discipline, limit the stuff you say about other people, don't gossip, don't backstab, right? Thou shalt not, fill in the blank. What would Odysseus do, if you're not into Christianity? What would Odysseus do? What would Buddha do, right? Instead, he will endeavor to understand the reason for their disagreement, profit by it, right? Bottom line, no one has any right to form an opinion that is not based either upon that which he believes to be facts. Didn't I just say that at the beginning? Stick to the facts, stick to the science, or upon a reasonable hypothesis. Yet, if you will observe yourself carefully, you will catch yourself forming opinions on nothing more substantial than your desire for a thing to be or not be true. And this is a part of critical thinking. People will oftentimes believe what they believe more so than what researchers have shown through consistent, continuous, extensive, exhaustive research. You have 100 experts who have researched, fill in the blank, whatever it is, right? Extensively, exhaustively over time. And the conclusion, according to that research, in in physics, science, in math, in sociology, in economics, and a person who has not even a fraction of the background or understanding that these experts have will go, nah, not true, because I don't want to believe it's right, or they just ignore it. Well, there's 1,000 things that go against what you're saying, but there's one or two things that support you. So you go with the one or two things and ignore the expertise and what 1,000 other people are saying or have said for years, decades, centuries, and you just ignore it. A prominent scientist, skip down to the second to last paragraph, who had a keen sense of humor, has prophesied that not only will this habit grow lean bank accounts, what is the habit, savings habit, but if persistent in it, it will eventually grow babies whose legs will have become transformed into wheels. Well, there is a sense of humor right there, right? This is a speed-mad, money-spending age. Nothing has changed in 100 years. Maybe it's gotten worse. We are a consumer culture. If you want to be broke or stay broke, just keep spending money on stuff. Poor people buy stuff, rich people invest. And again, I wish I had known this not at 30 or 35, but at 20, right? Or 25. To do much clear thinking, a man must arrange for regular periods of solitude when he can concentrate and indulge his imagination without distraction. It's true. I love spending time alone and learning and researching and reading and contemplating and reflecting, analyzing, deducing, inferring. You don't know what those words mean? Those are good words. We are creatures of imitation. Damn, is this guy has he read my mind? It's covering a lot of points I've already covered, and I haven't read this in forever. I haven't read this in years. I'm just doing it now again. I mean, the particulars, I know the general concepts, but I don't remember the particulars, but there's one. I was just talking about that, right? Creatures of imitation. Most people will just follow the dodo birds off the cliff. Follow the followers, been following the followed forever. Follow the followers who've been following the followed forever. Just to do it. Everybody's supposed to college. I'm just going to college. Everybody's supposed to say this online, do this online. Everybody's buying this stuff. I'm just going to buy it. Everybody likes this celebrity. I just got to be like that celebrity. endless array, consistent load of people, one after another, just following. And some following is fine, as long as you know what you're doing, as long as you know what you're following. Anyways, creatures of imitation. We find it hard to resist the temptation to do that which we see others doing. If our neighbors buy a Buick, right? This is keeping up with the Joneses, that type of thing. Right? The old-fashioned rainy day nest egg has become obsolete. And habit of saving nest egg, now it's got to be investing. Because inflation, the value of the dollar was much greater back then proportionally. The value of the dollar has fallen considerably. And in recent years, and with even more and more inflation, so the value of the dollar has decreased. You have cash on hand. It's actually losing value as you hold that cash in your wallet. How about that? And people say, I'll just put that in a 0.5% interest-bearing savings account, and I will increase my money. Well, actually, what you're going to do is decrease the amount of money you're losing. So that's it. It's not a savings account. It's a decrease the money. It's a decrease the money, the value of the money. Let me try it again. It's decrease the value of the money that your savings account, right? So you got 5% interest. So for every dollar in there, you get 5%. Not 5%, 0.5%, 0.5%, right? You get 0.5%. That's what I meant to say. So, and inflation is about 8%. So instead of losing 8% every day or whatever it is, whatever the loss average is, instead of losing, we'll say 8% every day or every week, whatever it is, right? You're only losing 7.5%. Well, isn't that great? You're saving so much money. You ain't saving diddly. You're not a good thinker. You're not a good investor. Of course, this warning does not apply to you. It is intended only for those who are binding themselves in the chains of poverty by spending beyond their earning capacity, or just spending on stuff that they don't need, spending money on things that they don't need with the money that they don't have. Right? For that one, right? It's done all the time. I gotta have that 100 square inch TV, right? Got to have the latest Xbox. I got to have the latest phone. I got to spend $8,000 on each family member for Christmas. Why? Because that's what we do in our family, and that's expected. You know what we buy for each other at Christmas time these days? Nothing. Or sometimes I'll take money and I'll just put it into an investment for us, How do you live, man? You just following the followers or been following the followed forever? Then you're fill in the blank. Then you're, what blank goes in the blank. What else? Lack of self-control, middle paragraph, is being developed in the oncoming generations by their parents who have become victims of the spending habit. Nothing's changed. Next paragraph, italicized statement. I repeat, the spending habit is turning America into a nation of paupers. Just purchase, buy. And sadly, everything's becoming a commercial. I go onto my phone, I look at the sports app and there's commercials. I go on to articles online, commercial, or on social media, commercial, everything. And they're putting commercials all over the place in the most unusual, unexpected places, You can even dial people, be put on hold, commercial. Right? You walk outside, somebody slaps a commercial on you. Hi, I am the commercial slapper. I'll be slapping commercials on your face every day as you come out the door from now into eternity. Enjoy. Enjoy your unwanted interruption. And that's what a lot of commercials are. It's an unwanted interruption. Online, on the TV, in the movie theater, in the stuff you rack, magazines, newspapers, if those are still around there. What do we say? Self-discipline, second to last paragraph, is the most essential factor in the development of personal power. Bingo. Love it. Perfect. This is why I love this stuff, right? I don't like some of the loony kind of off-kilter stuff. archaic stuff that's in here, pseudoscience that's in here, outmoded, outdated stuff, believing in classic science, ether oriented. Now we should focus more on our understanding of existence or matter at the quantum level, right? We live in the quantum or quanti, quantum bursts of energy, right? It's a particle, it's a wave, it's a particle. That's some weird stuff. Study that stuff. Do you know that stuff doesn't exist at the subatomic level unless it's observed? So in order for it to exist, we have to look at it. The hell is this is why I can never be a physicist. I'm like, what? Most essential factor in the development of personal power because it enables you to control your appetite and your tendency to spend more than you earn. This is kind of like the classical, what is that? Like the pilgrims that came here. Classical pilgrim or pilgrim or Protestant that came here. Control, self-control. And it's even in the national anthem, I think. Something about the pilgrim's feet and self-control, right? That's kind of steeped in more traditional conservative values, right? That those who offered you any other destructive habits which has caused you to dissipate your energies through non-productive effort, it takes on forms too numerous to be cataloged in this lesson, or even calculated, I guess, right? Very early in my public career, so that's evidence. Ask any wise person, I'll modernize it for you, what he or she most desires, and he or she will more than likely say more wisdom. What is knowledge and wisdom? I'll pause as you fill in the answer. What is that you say? Wisdom is just understanding stuff, information? No, wrong, sorry. Knowledge is based in fact, and fact is based in evidentiary facts or knowledge, evidence-based knowledge. It has been proven to be true, or through enough observation and confirmation it's been proven to be true, right? Follow the science, empirical evidence, through empirical evidence, observation, scientific data, the scientific method, it's been proven to be true, right? That type of thing. Not faith. Faith is based in belief in things not seen. Even though people think that's religion, but all of us operate in faith every day. You get up in the morning, eat breakfast, and go out because you have faith that you're not going to be killed. Run over. Contract some life-threatening disease. Get your job. Get to your work. Do your job. Get paid by the end of the week, end of the month, year. Go to college with the faith that you're going to do well in the courses, semester, degree. That is going to be of some use or value, intrinsic value to you at the end as an end result, right? Outcome. Observe your outcomes, right? More wisdom. Wisdom is understanding the difference between right and wrong. A wise one, I'll say one, say man, then you gotta say woman. A wise person once said, be treated by others as you want to be treated by them, or treat others as you would want them to treat you. I guess that's the golden. I finally got it right. Right. Treat others as you would want them to treat you. Right. That's a wise. That's a yes or no. Right. Yes. Is that a good idea? Yes. Most people will confirm. Yes. Wise. True. Yes. True. Not true. True. Right. So wisdom is true or false. Right. Yes or no. Everybody who comes into class wearing a pink shirt will get A's. Blue shirt B, red shirt C, and everybody else, I'll just average it out and give you D's and F's. I'll give the remainder half D's, half F's. If you don't have those first three colored shirts. Fair? Yes? No. Why? Not wise. It's not wise to do that. It's not just, it's not ethical. Prudence, it's not prudent. That's wisdom, right? Did I say enough there? It is well known fact, middle paragraph, that no human has ever reached a high station in life without opposition of a violent nature from jealous and envious enemies. True. Just go look at all the athletes. LeBron's taking a lot of shots. There's a lot of LeBron haters out there. There's a lot of I don't know, pick your athlete or sports team of choice, right? Politicians. There was a guy, number 45 president, don't want to mention his name. A lot of people hated, still hate. A lot of hate there, right? Who was it? The guy that Barry Bonds in baseball. People hated him, you know, unless you were a Giants fan. People hated him because of his alleged drug use, or we could say steroid use, right? Right. So yeah, you reach high. A lot of people on The View, people hate. Whoopi, the stuff that she says, and the others on The View. Who's the other one? The former comedian. There's two on there that are comedians that are not funny at all. Maybe they used to be. Joy something. Behar. There we go. Why the hell do I even know these names? I never watched the show. Joy Behar and Whoopi. They're always getting attacked by people. Hate that lady. Hate. Why is that show still on? Why are they still on? Right. Anyways, I had unconsciously psychoanalyzed myself, italicized part, by releasing over the keys of my typewriter the repressed emotions of hate and resentment, which I had been unintentionally gathered in my subconscious mind for a long period of years. That's interesting. I did that one time. And sometimes it's good to purge. I had a hate-love relationship with my dad. Sad to say. Mostly hate, a lot of hate, you know. Sadly, that's the way of the parent sibling world, you know. And then one day, it just all came out in a telephone conversation. It was all oppressed. And it wasn't good. It wasn't pretty. And I don't suggest you do it that way by any stretch. It just happened. And I'm usually pretty self-controlled, pretty self-aware. And I just went nuts. Stuff I said was just like, you don't want to know it. Some very creative cussing. And after that, kind of just cleared the air. We never had a better relationship. He's saying, I love you. We're hugging, which we never used to do. That's kind of like extreme therapy. That's like when you go out, what is that? Like scream therapy? But I did it in the phone at him, you know. But this guy person did it on the typewriter. While others may sidetrack your ambitions, not a few times, remember that discouragement most frequently comes from within. That one's said many times. Who's your own greatest enemy? You know, who's your greatest enemy? Oftentimes it's yourself. You have, let's go back to thought. Thought is good. So I'm going to do thought with James Allen. It says man, as a person thinketh, right? So thoughts are very important. You know, your thoughts become your words, become your actions, become your deeds, become your habits, become you. That's kind of paraphrasing it, right? So again, everything starts here, thought. It all begins here, thought, right? Thought is the only thing over which you have absolute control. Yet, unless you are the proverbial exception, which is about 1 out of every 10,000, you permit other people to enter the sacred mansion of your mind. And this is thick-faced Blackheart. You create a sword shield so that you move forward as the sword. You move forward doing, saying, acting the way that you need to, morally, ethically, and in a disciplined way in order to get stuff done. And at the same time, people are always going to be chirping, chirp, 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 right back at you, right? And if you need to get that stuff done, you know you need to get that stuff done. You're a good person. You've looked at yourself. I'm pretty ethical, moral person. I'm not just doing this to abuse anybody, to shortchange or shortcome anybody. I'm doing it to help me, right? So I'm going to keep moving forward, even if there's a lot of stuff coming back. So you need that shield, right? And the more you're out in front of people in a public capacity, the more you'll need that. So I learned a lot about doing that. I've spoken in front of people, performed in front of people, hundreds, thousands of times, probably thousands, you know. And you really got to build up that shield, you know. And I see the same quality in people, business people at the high end, people in athletics, entertainment. They really have that sense of self and that shield up that really, you know, and that's your not vulnerable. You know, you're going to have weak moments, and if you get enough hammered, you know, you get hammered enough, it's going to take you down some. But you don't want the slightest thing or mid-level shots at you, you know, or even high-level shots at you to take you down first time, right? Through suggestions, their troubles and woes, adversities and falsehoods, just as though you did not have the power, close the door and keep them out, right? You have within you your control, the power to select the material that constitutes the dominating thoughts of your mind. This is what you want to work on. This is why control goes into my mind. I don't just sit on the internet and surf. I don't just sit on my television and channel surf, right? I don't just read or view or go various places without forethought, hang out with certain people without forethought in certain places, doing certain things, right? Be careful. My wife today was just talking about her grandkids and how the mom sometimes just lets them hang out with some really questionable individuals, right? Not alone, but, you know, poor influences, right? Especially kids are impressionable. And you got to be very careful with young kids, you know, and I'm talking children, you know, under 18, under 17, 16, especially. Anyways, you have within your control the power to select the material that constitutes the dominating thoughts of your mind. And just as surely you are reading these lines, those thoughts which dominate your mind will bring success and failure. Like my son listens to a lot of modern music, and some of the lyrics he's singing, I'm going, why are you listening to that, man? I listen to all kinds of music. I listen to some classical music and some classical rock. Most of the stuff, 99% of the stuff I listen to is pretty much on the up and up. That doesn't have nasty, derogatory lyrics in it, right? It should be all on the up and up. Self-control is solely a matter of thought control, right? Controlling your thoughts. Not in the sense that you're like in a dictator fascist state. Thought control and propaganda, getting you to program yourself to be evil. No, programming yourself to limit the thoughts that come into your head and the thoughts of others and the words of others that come into your wheelhouse, so to speak. Right? Then he talks about the process through which one may think accurately is lesson 11, right? Thought. Well, let's see what else. People like to use their excess energy by chewing the rag. That's just gossiping. Wrigley Jr. capitalized this human trait by giving them a stick of spearmint. Chewing the rag. I guess Wrigley spearmint chewing gum. I don't know. Is that still around? I haven't chewed gum forever. So watch the foreman, watch the physician. So he's giving some examples, right? Watch the lawyer. And self-control is the result of thought control, deliberately placed in your own mind the sort of thoughts that you desire there, and keep out of your mind those thoughts which others place there through suggestion, and you will become a person of self-control. That's it, pretty much, right? Not that you could do this in a vacuum, not that you can do it in an absolute sense. You're always going to control everything that comes into your brain, into your wheelhouse, into your environment, right? I'm driving in traffic, I'm out doing stuff. Crap, unwanted crap comes in, it happens, but generally you want to limit it, right? Limit it, what you're watching, reading online, television, movies, music, reading material, people you talk to, hang out with, places you go. You know, just kind of control that to the way that you feel is best for you. I'm not going to tell you what it is. I don't know. You know, some people want a little dirtier environment than what I want. Some want a little cleaner environment than I want. So to each their own. What else we say? Talks about Napoleon there. Who was this? Plant. Hold on. Peterson, John J. Peterson. It's got all these. Yeah, right. Roosevelt. Demosthenes. Go back to ancient times. Helen Keller. John H. Patterson. Shakespeare. Marshall Field. Billy Sunday. Baseball. Kind of some old references. I wish to be at the break there. I wish to be of service to my fellow men, humans, as I journey through life. To do this, I have adopted this creed, as a guide to be followed in dealing with my fellow beings. So this is something to plant in your mind by making this particular creed. To train myself so that never, under any circumstance, will I find fault with any person, no matter how much I may disagree with him or her, or how inferior his or her work may be, as long as I know that person is sincerely trying to do their best, right? And there's a good amount of truth in this. And you want to take this with a grain of salt, and you want to do this in the various measures or degrees that works for you. And then maybe as you go along, you want to turn it up a little bit more, make it a little more stringent or less so or whatever, you know, you modify it as you go. But the principle itself is a very important, critical principle that enhances your existence, your thinking, your being, not just thinking, but how you'll be in function with others, right? Your soul, your spirit, your intellect, your emotion. To respect my country, my profession, and myself, to be honest and fair with fellow humans as I expect them to be, so that's the golden rule. Be a loyal citizen, to speak out with praise and act always. I do that. I do that with my students. I say, hey, guys, man, I love you. I love you. You got some great potential in you. You're young, you don't know much, but I've been there, right? I'm here. I want to help you. To be a person whose name's carried away, and so forth and so on, right? So he's going through this. To remember that success lies within myself. To avoid procrastination, right? Take a good grip on the joys of life, right? And all those things. Why I believe in poverty is the richest experience that can come to a boy. Wow, there you go. I didn't grow up in poverty. I grew up upper middle class. If you know Buddha, right? Buddha grew up in a very wealthy family. His father was a royal person, or not a dictator, a king, you know, and he lived in a palace, right? But he said, I'm not learning anything this way, so he went into poverty. How about that? That's a role reversal. That's kind of how I went. I didn't go into poverty, but I went off on my own, right? And I didn't want any help from my parents. And I very rarely sought it unless I really needed help. Like I need money, or else I'm not going to eat or pay my rent. Sometimes I did that, ask for help. But I really went out on my own. I moved from Connecticut to Boston, from Boston to Los Angeles, where I live now. And I really, really had to make it on my own. And in order to do that, you know, growing up upper middle class in Connecticut. Oh, Connecticut. So posh. Not kind of posh. Not high posh, but good posh. A little lower posh, I guess. But I really learned a lot through, you know, living in some bad places, through having to experience and pull myself up on my bootstraps. Our doubts are traitors and make us lose the God we often might win, fearing to attempt. Let me see. I think that's about it. What else we got here? We're kind of going, we could go on and on and on, right? A good hearty laugh is worth 10,000 groans and a million sighs in any market on earth. Evolution of transportation. So I think that's about it. As you can see, these things go on forever and ever, and I could spend hours talking about this, but I'm not going to do that. Lesson 9, habit of doing more than you're paid for. That is an essential one. And we'll see you when that time comes. Have a good one.